Hi folks, I'm Dave Gallus, and this is my relatively new show. This is about the fourth week we're in now. It's called We the People. It's about unifying and helping New Mexico straighten out our government. I am running for New Mexico State Senate in District 37, but today it's our second time visiting with my guest, Andrew Ostic. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Andrew is running for County Clerk, and I've known Andrew for, I guess, maybe 4 years or so.
Yes, sir.
Andrew has always been a person I go to for questions I have about elections, and we seem to have problems with our elections in Doña County, and this show is titled Voter and Election Integrity. So Andrew has been in the county office for 18 years? Andrew?
18 years, yes, sir.
So tell us about your experience that qualifies you for county clerk.
Well, I've done just about every duty in the county clerk's office. I've been an election official, voting machine technician. I was an interim election supervisor at one point, election official coordinator. I hired and appointed all election staff for probably, of that time, 10 years. Before that, working in the office, doing day-to-day operations, helping the public with basic needs of filing their deeds, voter registration, marriage licenses, lots of intricate required county clerk duties in the office. We need to have that customer-friendly attitude.
Well, you've always been a go-to person. Whenever I ask for help, I always ask for you when I go to the county, and I always get a straight answer, and if you don't know it, you find out for me. So I'm very pleased with your work there, although you're not there anymore, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the person that you're running against, from what I understand, there was a scandal that went on, and then Scott Kraling, I think it was, left under a scandal, and there was an appointment made, and that was Amanda Askin.
The appointment was by the county commissioners. They had some applicants apply to be county clerk, and there are several with lots of experience levels. There are some elected officials, former city clerks, state representative. I believe a lot of people that were involved in the community that really had so much more experience than Amanda.
Well, how did Amanda get appointed? I mean, what do you think was going on there? What is her experience that would qualify her as an election?
She has no experience in the election process. She's never been an election official. I don't think I've ever met her before in county government.
So I don't know, but it doesn't sound like she was qualified to be an election official.
That's correct.
Well, and I know you certainly are with all your experience. So, okay, I've been a presiding judge twice. I've been a judge of elections once. And I've seen things that just don't make sense to me, that I've been bumped around from one location to another with no reason whatsoever, and then lied to, actually. The person that bumped me out of a position that I should have had as the presiding judge said that I was told that they had more experience, which they did not. They were never a presiding judge. Meeting people that have been taken off of the voting official roles, and these are, I'm finding that people are, just the Republicans seem to be taking off of the rolls, which it's like, what's going on here? So I've seen a lot of things that doubt my belief in the integrity of our election officials at the county building. What have you seen over your time? You've been there. Well, they actually took your job away.
I'm not too sure if they did eliminate my job position.
Well, you were fired, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was terminated from the county clerk's office.
And some people are saying, well, you were terminated, that's why you're running for office. But is that true?
I started thinking about running for office amidst the Scott Kraling affair that he had, and he resigned.
Okay.
I participated in that investigation. I feel this was all retaliatory.
So your thoughts to running was well before Amanda was appointed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
By the county commissioners.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's not true. That's fake news, folks.
Yep.
So okay, so what have you seen that leads you to believe that you're running obviously because you want to make a difference in the elections. So what have you seen that the public may not know about the integrity of our elections?
Basic fundamental duties of the county clerk is to appoint election officials. And I believe the election officials at this point are not respected as individuals who matter in elections. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, declined, you must be given the proper training, given the proper respect towards serving your community. You can't be just cast aside like someone that just can be hired and fired. They're very important. They are the witnesses to the election process.
And then, look, just to clarify, an election official is a volunteer that is right from the public, that is willing to be part of the elections, correct? Like a clerk or a presiding judge or a judge of elections.
They're either a registered voter or a minor. Minors can serve at the polls.
Really?
Yes, if you're 16 to 17-year-olds, they just need to get parental permission and submit their birth certificate, and they can serve as a clerk. They can only serve as a clerk under the presiding judge.
To our young folks out there, you want to be part of the process, you can be part of the election process. So that's good. That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
So what else have you seen that seems to be awry?
The tallying of the absentee ballots at the Bureau of Elections warehouse on Lakeside, that's an inaccessible area. I think the public needs to be invited and notified where their ballots are being tallied and tabulated. I'm not sure if you want to do a Google search, any of the audience, but 2480 Lakeside is the place where your ballot is being tallied.
That's a hard place to find.
It's a very hard place to find. There's no parking. It's really dark. If it's 7 p.m. and they begin receiving all the returns from all the polling locations, it's pretty much hard to park and find a suitable location to.
No, to me it seems odd that if you're going to have the election, you're going to have the presiding judge that should hand carry the ballot box that's sealed, take that to the county building. And why isn't it at the county building that they're kept there and even tabulated there? But you don't want to break that chain of evidence, which is the ballots. They're sacred. I mean, why aren't they kept at the county building?
I think it's on the basic necessity that they want to get out of the office sooner, so they don't want to deliver the ballot boxes to the Lakeside warehouse.
So it's a matter of convenience?
Convenience to the clerk's staff, I believe.
Holy
That's
smoke.
what I think it is.
I mean, what's more important than the election integrity, which is what we're talking about? I know I had to take my ballot boxes with the seals on them. I had to have people sign off that they saw me do that, the sealed numbers, take that to the county building, which was kind of a chaotic place at the time. But now they go to the warehouse, which there's no lighting on that road at the warehouse, and there's no parking there. So to me, it says this is a way where the votes can be manipulated, possibly. I mean, if you're going to have fraud, that would be the place that it would happen, and especially with absentee ballots.
Yes, and I believe that is a valid response to that. You have to have an open government where people are allowed, the public can view the tallying of the absentee ballots.
Can the public show up at the warehouse or wherever they're going to tally, or what? There's a difference between processing and tabulating, but is the public allowed to witness what's going on?
The public can be present in the building, and that in the past at the government center we did have the county commission chambers open, and they were viewing the results being tabulated down the hall.
In the chambers?
In the county commission
That's a
chambers.
great idea. I mean, that's a big area.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard that the public sometimes is segregated way off into the distance where you can't even see what's going on. You need binoculars. And of course you can't say anything, but you can take notes to see if, well, that doesn't look right or that doesn't look right. Maybe write down when the time happened, who it was that did whatever you think shouldn't have been done. So there's ways for the public to get involved and see what's going on and raise hell if it's not being done that way. But I don't think the public is aware of what the legalities are.
The public, they can be present at the county clerk's office during election time, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They can be, after the polls close, they can be in the county commission. I think the county commission chambers is open. They can view the results, but in the past elections, they've been instructed to view them online on the Secretary of State's website, and that's something that needs to be changed. And I think I can do that. I can make that change. We have a building that can accommodate multiple numbers of the public to view that.
There's another thing too. If they have, say, the absentee ballots that aren't necessarily counted until election day, I think they're allowed to be processed to some degree. They take them out of the outer envelopes, and then they hold the the ballots themselves. But the warehouse, is that fireproof? I mean, are they safe?
Not to my knowledge, I don't think the Lakeside warehouse has a vault.
And the county does have a vault.
Yes, sir.
So why not keep them right in the county, in the vault, where they're protected and the chain of evidence isn't broken?
That's a great idea. That's one of the things I'd like to implement in the county clerk's office.
I'm looking forward to it when you get in there. Well, let's see. What else do you see that you don't think is right? I mean, I don't see that the public is engaged in what's going on. Now, is the public notified of what's going on in a timely manner, say printouts or emails? Well, not even emails, but maybe a printed form, because not everybody has a computer. A lot of seniors don't have computers. How is it rolled out in time? Because I'm finding out friends say, well, we've gotten an absentee request, we sent it in, but we didn't get our absentee ballot back. So it doesn't seem like things are happening as quick as they should.
That's correct. A lot of people are requesting these absentee ballots for this election, and they're not getting them in a timely manner. I've spoken to several individuals who requested their absentee at the beginning of the month, and they still have not received anything.
Jeez. And we're only, what, 4 or 5 days away?
That's correct.
From the primary. There's a lot. What else do you see? I mean, I've been told by certain people that, now me being a Republican, you're a Democrat. It's funny. It's okay, folks. You know, there is no party. A good person is a good person, and I trust Andrew as a Democrat. I don't think we can do any better. Now, when it comes to the general election, Cheryl Young is going to be running against you, and Cheryl Young is my friend, but she's a good and an honest person. It's going to be a hard choice. And just because I'm a Republican doesn't mean I have to vote for Cheryl. I vote for the best person. And that's true of everybody, because in the primary, you vote for the person in your party. But in the general, you vote for the best person. So, okay. So, what else do we see? I hear that people that have been, I don't know if it's nominated, but suggested by the party to be a poll worker, maybe a challenger. But I'm hearing that those people aren't asked to come. They're being dismissed. Now, to me, being a Republican, I'm finding that a lot of Republicans are being dismissed, and yet I hear from the county clerk that they don't have enough people.
That's correct.
What?
Doesn't make sense to me as well. I've heard from several election officials that wish to participate in this election. They're having trouble being assigned to locations. The poll worker trainings are held on a Zoom meeting. And that was one of my concerns, that they weren't receiving a training manual at the time of the Zoom meeting, and the instructions are required.
A paper training manual.
Yes.
That they can take home and review.
Yes.
And I've often felt as though I could use more training when I went in for presiding judge and judge of elections. Well, hold that thought. We're going to be coming back in a minute. And to my Hispanic friends, votar es una grande libertad. Haga su parte, vote. We'll be back in a minute.
I'm a Christian conservative, and I'm a Trump conservative.
I'm running for Congress, and I'm running for you. I'm Yvette Harrell, and like President Trump, I fought for New Mexico businesses and families against government overreach.
We gotta drain the swamp.
That's why I'm endorsed by Trump allies like Mark Meadows, Mike Huckabee, Jim Jordan, and the NRA. I'm asking you to join us to start the great American comeback.
Yvette Harrell for Congress.
I'm Yvette Harrell, and I approve this message.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
I'm fighting for our country and our president every day, and I'm asking you to send Yvette Harrell to join us in that fight. I'm Jim Jordan. I've known Yvette for years. She's rock solid. Yvette will take on the Washington swamp. She'll boldly stand with President Trump to secure our border, hold China accountable, and help restart our great economy. Don't believe the special interest lies you're hearing. Vote Yvette Harrell for Congress.
Yvette Harrell for Congress.
I'm Yvette Harrell, and I approve this message.
Hi folks, this is Dave Gallus back here again with the relatively new show, We the People, Unifying New Mexico. And this show's about election integrity. And we're here with Andrew Ostic, who's running for county clerk. I'm a Republican running for New Mexico State Senate District 37, and yet I have Andrew Ostic, a Democrat, running for county clerk. To me, I don't see,
We're all American.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Where good people are good people, no matter what party. So we're talking to Andrew about voter integrity, and we're finding that there's a lot of inconsistencies about people are not confident that what we're getting is a fair and honest election. Now we had, in 2018, I think it was, we had 8,000 absentee ballots show up, and they were counted and made the difference between Yvette Harrell losing to Xochitl Small, and she was ahead before those 8,000 ballots turned up. So absentee ballots a big deal. So we're hashing out what we see as wrong, and we have a person in there now, Amanda Askin, who was appointed with no experience as a county official in elections. Andrew Ostic, on the other hand, has been in the elections offices in various jobs for 18 years. So, okay. So I don't think there's a question about qualifications. And the voters will make the decision, not the county clerk or county commissioners who appointed Amanda at that time. So, Andrew, what solutions are you going to suggest? We talked a little bit at the break about people are disenfranchised because they're not going to be able to vote. But first off, the primary, you can only vote in your party. If you're a Republican, you have to be a registered Republican to choose your Republican candidate for the general election, as well as Democrat, Libertarian.
Yes.
So what's the problem there, that how people are not going to be able to vote properly in the general election?
We're one of the few states that still has closed primaries, and so a lot of people that move here from other parts of the country, they think they can vote in these primary elections. A lot of the newcomers here, they're going to try to go vote at the polls, and they're going to find out that they're not registered with a specific party affiliation that is a requirement for primary elections in order to participate. They can vote provisionally at the polls. So every primary election, we do receive a high number of provisional ballots, and those people have the opportunity to change their party affiliation at the polls. So it's like a voter registration process when they do go to vote. They will be qualified after the election.
So their vote won't
election.
count at that time until it's checked out?
It'll be determined by the canvassing board. They will do the determination of whether or not that vote does count.
Okay.
I guess 9 times out of 10, it's not a data entry error or anything like that, and it will not be counted because they're not party affiliated.
Okay.
Another thing too is during the early voting period, they did have the same-day voter registration. A lot of voters probably turned out, and they were previously registered with a different party affiliation. They cannot change their party affiliation at that time. They're already previously registered. So same-day voter registration is only for the new registrants.
Now, how is that going to affect those folks in the general election?
They'll be registered with their party affiliation for the general election. And so the people that are being reached by campaigns, then they'll know that they have to be registered with the party affiliation for the primary election. But they will turn out for the general. So that's very important. We need to get these people to come back and vote because that's very important.
Yeah, don't be disgruntled, because no matter what party affiliation you have in the general, you can choose anyone you want. I could choose Andrew as a Democrat in the general election. So, but I'm not saying I'm going to vote for Andrew. Cheryl is the Republican candidate. But so folks, you can choose whoever you want in the general election. It's only the primary that you have to pick someone in your party. So, okay, Andrew, we talked about how you're going to fix the problems in elections. What are some of your ideas?
First of all, I want to just maintain basic training of staff and election officials. We got to ensure that we have proper management in that area, because if our office is making a mistake, then it could disenfranchise a lot of voters.
Sure.
Nobody's receiving any confirmation that their absentee was counted. I think that's very important. I think people need to know, hey, did my vote count? I submitted an absentee. They pressed for the Solid Mail election. Can I see that my vote was counted? something that I'd like to look into is some type of confirmation that we received their ballot, because a lot of people hold that very sacred.
Sure.
And it's part of the democratic platform. Your voting right is a fundamental right and sacred. It's very important to me, that part. That's like the top.
I think a lot of people don't even vote because they throw their hands up and say, what's the difference? It doesn't count. It does count. It absolutely counts. A small number of people can make the difference in a race. We've had city elections where a person lost by 8 votes.
Yes.
I mean, so you have to vote, but you have to be registered before you vote. So after this primary, people can register for the general election. And it doesn't matter how you register, just register, and then you can vote in the general election. And can they track their absentee ballot?
I looked on the website, nmvote.org. I believe it's, you put in your information, your name, your year of birth.
Driver's license, maybe? Or
I think it's just your name and year of birth at the first,
okay.
when you do log in. I already previously voted, but I did not see any type of absentee ballot tracker.
Okay.
I need to get in touch with somebody who did apply online so that we can verify
Right.
whether or not.
They can call the county office, I'm sure, and,
Yes.
and if there is a walkthrough that they can tell you how to do it, but very important to know that your vote is counting.
Yes, we need that transparency in government. A lot of people have questions and they need those questions answered immediately.
Okay. You were also we were talking about the warehouse. I would suggest bring back the voting and all the tabulating and everything back to the county building, which is a secure location.
Yes, I think we pay $3,000 a month for that warehouse to store the voting machines. It is a temperature controlled warehouse. It does have a lot of storage space. We do store the old election material in there. We do have a retention time on those documents.
But again, it's not fireproof, is it?
No.
What happens if there's some kind of recall where they have to go over these ballots again and we have a fire?
Well, that's one of the things about the election code. I guess they lowered the retention time on some of those. It used to be 2 years, and I believe like around 2 years to hold those documents.
So what else would you do, Andrew? I think we talked some about notifying and training, a timely manner in notifying. How about the fairness? Because it doesn't feel as though that all parties are represented by election officials, and election officials are the people that volunteer to work at the polls. It doesn't seem like it's a fair deal.
We need to reinstitute the old election code where the party chairs submit a list of names.
Okay.
That'll prevent bias during the appointment of election officials. We have to have people that are Democrat and Republican, all party affiliations, Libertarian, DTS, Green. They have to witness the election process, so maybe these people will someday become candidates. You know, we need people like that to run. Some people with high integrity and good moral values.
Then it makes sense. If you have the party chairman or chairwoman that actually submits the names, they know who their people are. So it's not like you're going to have somebody that appears to be a Republican when they're a Democrat, or appears to be a Democrat when they're a Republican. So if you have the party chairs making the submission of names, there's not much chance that you're going to get the wrong person in there. You're going to get the honest person in there that is truly who they say they are.
Yes, and especially the most important is that we have a witness from the parties there.
Right.
And then that would reduce any type of questions or scrutiny towards the election process. Because once you close those doors, then a lot of people are going to be wondering what's going on. Sure. You can't refuse those people at the polls to work.
Sure. I can't think of anything that's more important than election, folks, and it's you have to, if you want to change problems that you see in our government, it starts with elections. And the elections start with your registering. If you're not registered, you're not going to vote. You have to be, what are the parameters? You have to be 18 years of age or older at the time of election. 18
years of age. You have to be a resident of where you're registering.
You have to be a U.S. citizen.
Yes, you have to be a U.S. citizen.
And if you were a felon, if you've done your time and completed your whatever it is you have to do, parole or whatever time, you're eligible to vote again, correct?
Yes. Just go to the probation office. You get this certificate of completion, and then you submit that with your registration form.
Everybody makes mistakes, some bigger, some lesser, but if you've done your time, we can all be forgiven, and we all should have the right to vote.
Exactly.
So If people want to help you with your election, or if people want to get more information about you, where do they go?
You can visit my Facebook account. It's Andrew J. Ostic, Fredonia County Clerk. I am very receptive. You can message me. I'll answer, I think it said within an hour. I do work a part-time, full-time job now, but you can get a hold of me and I'll answer any question you have. I can tell you which polling locations are open. Please be aware of those polling locations that are open on Election Day, too.
Because they've changed, haven't they?
They have changed, yes.
And that's something they didn't roll out to let people know. Where people are confused. They're calling me and saying, well, where do I vote? And I said, well, I don't know. It's changed. So they can call the county to find out exactly where they are. And it's NM...
Actually, it's you can go to donianacounty.org for the list.
donianacounty.org for the list.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's Andrew J. Ostic? Mm-hmm. Andrew J. Ostic. What's the rest?
For Doniana County Clerk Facebook account.
Wow. That's a lot
I could
to
even
say.
tell you, if you want to try to test me, just tell me where you live. I can tell you the nearest location that you can go vote. I have no
that's
problem
good.
with that. I like assisting the public, answering questions.
You've always taken good care of me. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so the warehouse, that's scary to me. The allowing all of the parties represented in the elections is so important, and I don't feel we get a fair shake there. We had a thing called the Election Advisory Board, and it was basically mostly Democrats. So when we went in to be a part of it, and when I say we, I mean Republicans, to represent a conservative side of the elections. And they were pretty upset that we went in there. Now, this was started, I believe, by the county clerk. But it was run by civilians should have been both parties. Well, when we got in there, we disrupted them so much that they canceled the whole operation, because it's almost as if they couldn't have their way. And it's like, I made a complaint, but it didn't go anywhere. So there doesn't seem like there's fairness. And that's one thing we do have to have, is fairness and integrity. So again, Andrew, why don't you tell the folks just how to get a hold of you again, and say it slow.
Okay. You can look me up on Facebook, Andrew J. Ostic, for Doniana County Clerk. You can message me at any time of the day. I will answer any of your questions that you may have about elections, where to vote. If you even have a question that seems dumb, no, there's no dumb questions. You can ask me anything.
Thank you, Andrew. To my Hispanic friends, votar es una grande libertad. Haga su parte, vote. And we will see you next week. Now, I'm not quite sure who the guest is going to be on, or it might just be me, but it's always going to be about government, integrity, voting, elections. Will be done the primaries at that time. So stay tuned next week. We'll see you then. Dave Gallus signing off from We the People. Thank you again, Andrew.
Thank you, Dave.